Story 1. The Depths of Tragedy, a scuba diver's final dive. On a calm morning off the Australian coast, Liam Carter, an experienced scuba diver with 15 years of expertise, prepared for what he thought would be another routine dive. Known for his love of the reef, Liam decided to venture beyond his usual perimeter, unaware that this decision would lead to his final encounter with the ocean's apex predator, a great white shark. Liam's favorite dive spot was a secluded reef just a few miles offshore, known only to a handful of local divers. The reef was a kaleidoscope of colors, teeming with life, angelfish darting through coral crevices, sea turtles gliding gracefully, and the occasional shadow of a larger predator patrolling the edges. It was a place of wonder and mystery, a world Liam had explored countless times. But on this particular day, he made a fateful decision to venture beyond his usual perimeter, driven by a desire to experience the deeper, less charted waters. As Liam secured his gear and descended into the azure depths, the water enveloped him like an old friend. Each stroke of his fins propelled him further into a world few dared to explore. The reef's vibrant colors began to fade into darker hues as he ventured deeper, the sunlight above dimming into a muted glow. Liam was undeterred. He had planned this dive meticulously, ensuring he had the right equipment and enough oxygen to last him through the exploration. About 30 minutes into the dive, Liam reached an area where the reef gave way to an open expanse of sand and scattered rocks. It was here that he encountered his first sign of the ocean's more formidable inhabitants, a cluster of broken, jagged coral, evidence of recent turmoil. A shiver ran down his spine, but his curiosity overrode his caution. He adjusted his flashlight and pressed on. The first sign of trouble came in the form of a shadow. It was faint at first, a fleeting darkness that passed over the seabed. Liam paused, heart pounding, as his eyes scanned the water around him. The shadow returned, larger and more distinct. Then he saw it, a great white shark, its massive form cutting through the water with a predator's ease. It was the largest shark Liam had ever seen, easily over 15 feet long, with cold, calculating eyes that seemed to lock onto him. Liam's training kicked in. He knew the rules. Stay calm, avoid sudden movements, and never turn your back on the shark. But no amount of experience could prepare him for the raw power and presence of such a creature. The shark circled him slowly, its movements deliberate and menacing. Liam clutched his spear gun, a precaution he'd rarely needed before. He hoped the shark was simply curious and would lose interest, but its behavior suggested otherwise. The encounter escalated quickly. The shark's circles grew tighter, its movements more aggressive. Liam's breathing quickened, and he struggled to maintain composure. Then, without warning, the shark lunged. Liam fired his spear gun, the projectile grazing the shark's side. The creature recoiled but was far from deterred. It darted away momentarily, only to return with renewed ferocity. Liam's oxygen gauge was dipping dangerously low, and he realized he had to make a decision: fight or flee. Opting for survival, Liam began his ascent, kicking hard and fast. The shark followed, its massive jaws snapping dangerously close. Liam's mind raced. He remembered reading about divers who'd survived similar encounters by using their equipment to create barriers or by targeting sensitive areas like the eyes and gills. As he ascended, the surface seemed impossibly far away. The shark's relentless pursuit was draining Liam's energy and depleting his oxygen reserves. He tried to stay focused, but panic was beginning to set in. Suddenly, the shark struck, ramming him with a force that knocked the regulator from his mouth. Liam scrambled to retrieve it, but the shark was already circling for another attack. In those final moments, Liam's thoughts were a whirlwind. He thought of his family, his friends, and the countless dives that had brought him joy and wonder. He thought of the sea, his beloved sanctuary, now turned against him. With a final burst of strength, he fought to reach the surface, but the shark was faster. Witnesses on a nearby boat later recounted the horrifying scene. They had spotted Liam's buoy and were heading toward him when they saw the shark breach the water, its massive jaws clamping down. By the time they reached the spot, there was little they could do. The sea, once so calm and inviting, had claimed one of its most devoted explorers. Liam's death sent shockwaves through the diving community. He was remembered as a skilled and passionate diver, a man who had dedicated his life to exploring the mysteries of the deep. Friends and fellow divers held a memorial at his favorite reef, scattering flowers into the water and sharing stories of his adventures. In the aftermath, debates about the risks of diving in shark territory reignited. Some argued that Liam had been reckless to venture beyond the safety of the reef, while others saw his death as a reminder of the ocean's unpredictable nature. Experts analyzed the incident, noting that while great white shark attacks are rare, they are a stark reminder of the thin line between human exploration and the raw power of nature. For those who knew Liam, his tragic end was both heartbreaking and, in a way, fitting. He had died doing what he loved most, immersed in the beauty and danger of the underwater world. His story became a cautionary tale, a viral sensation that captivated audiences worldwide. Liam's story didn't end there. As the weeks turned into months, the diving community rallied to honor his memory. They organized a campaign to promote safe diving practices, ensuring that future generations of divers would be better prepared for the challenges of the deep. His closest friends compiled a collection of his underwater photographs, showcasing the breathtaking beauty he had dedicated his life to capturing. The collection was exhibited at a local gallery, drawing visitors from far and wide. One of Liam's protégés, a young diver named Mia, took it upon herself to continue his work. Inspired by his passion and courage, she began documenting the behaviors of apex predators like the great white shark. Her mission was to educate people about these misunderstood creatures, shedding light on their role in maintaining the ocean's delicate ecosystem. Mia often visited Liam's favorite reef, her dives becoming both a tribute and a testament to his influence. Each time she descended into the water, she felt his presence, as if he were guiding her through the underwater labyrinth. It was on one such dive that Mia experienced her own brush with danger. While observing a school of fish, she noticed a shadow in the distance. Her heart raced as memories of Liam's encounter flooded her mind. But this time, she was prepared. Armed with the knowledge Liam had imparted and her own extensive training, Mia managed to navigate the situation, emerging unscathed. Mia's work eventually gained international recognition. Her research contributed to better understanding and conservation efforts for great white sharks, helping to reduce the stigma surrounding them. She often credited Liam for inspiring her journey, sharing his story at conferences and in interviews. Meanwhile, Liam's family established a foundation in his name, dedicated to marine conservation and diver education. The foundation funded scholarships for aspiring marine biologists and organized workshops on safe diving practices. Through their efforts, Liam's legacy continued to make a positive impact on the world he loved so dearly. Back at the reef, a plaque was installed on a prominent rock formation, engraved with Liam's name and a simple inscription. In memory of a true explorer who lived and died embracing the wonders of the deep. Divers who visited the reef often paused at the plaque, reflecting on the risks and rewards of venturing into the unknown. Over time, Liam's tragic story became a symbol of both caution and inspiration. It reminded divers to respect the ocean's power while celebrating its beauty. And though Liam was gone, his spirit lived on in the waves, the coral, and the countless lives he had touched. The sea, ever enigmatic, remained both a place of peril and promise. And for those who dared to explore its depths, Liam's story served as a poignant reminder of the courage it takes to truly embrace the unknown. If you're enjoying this story so far, please remember to like and subscribe to our channel to help us continue delivering these real-life stories. Story 2. A holiday to remember, Eddy and Jill's brush with death. It was supposed to be the perfect getaway. Eddy and Jill had been planning their dream vacation for months, a chance to escape the daily grind and immerse themselves in the sunlit serenity of a tropical paradise. The turquoise waters, swaying palm trees, and vibrant marine life promised an unforgettable adventure. But what they didn't know was that their holiday would indeed be unforgettable, for reasons far more harrowing than they could have imagined. The couple arrived at the small seaside village, their faces glowing with excitement. They had heard stories about the pristine reefs just off the coast, teeming with colorful fish and exotic sea creatures. On their second day, they decided to book a fishing excursion with a local guide, a man named Matteo, who knew the area like the back of his hand. Matteo greeted them warmly, his weathered face breaking into a smile as he loaded their gear onto his modest fishing boat. As they set off, he shared tales of the sea, stories of massive tuna catches, playful dolphins, and more ominously, the occasional sighting of great white sharks. "These waters are beautiful," Matteo said, his tone shifting, "but they can be dangerous. You must always respect the sea and its creatures." Eddy and Jill nodded politely, though Eddy couldn't hide his grin. The idea of encountering a great white felt more thrilling than threatening. Matteo noticed but said nothing, steering the boat toward the open ocean. The morning passed peacefully. The couple marveled at the fish they caught and even spotted a pod of dolphins frolicking in the distance. As the sun climbed higher, Eddy suggested a swim to cool off. Matteo's face darkened. "It's not safe here," he warned. "Sharks have been spotted in these waters recently." But Eddy, emboldened by the idyllic setting and a sense of invincibility, brushed off the caution. "We'll stay close to the boat," he assured. "It'll be fine." Jill hesitated, glancing at Matteo, who shook his head. "I wouldn't do it if I were you," he said, but his words fell on deaf ears. Eddy had already stripped off his shirt and dived into the water with a joyful whoop. Jill, torn between trust in her partner and her own unease, reluctantly followed. The water was warm and inviting, and for a moment Jill forgot her fears. They swam together, laughing and splashing, the world above and below seemingly in harmony. Matteo kept a vigilant eye on them from the boat, his grip tightening on the edge as unease gnawed at him. It happened suddenly. A dark shadow moved beneath the surface, too large and swift to be mistaken for anything but a predator. Matteo's heart leapt into his throat. He shouted, waving frantically to get their attention, but the couple, caught up in their bliss, didn't notice. The great white shark struck with terrifying speed and precision. Eddy barely had time to react as the massive creature lunged, its powerful jaws clamping down on his leg. His scream shattered the calm, echoing across the water. Jill turned, her eyes widening in horror as blood clouded the once crystal-clear sea. Matteo sprang into action, grabbing a spear from the boat and yelling at Jill to swim back. She hesitated, paralyzed by fear, but Matteo's shouts jolted her into motion. Meanwhile, Eddy thrashed desperately, his survival instincts kicking in. He struck at the shark's snout, a tactic he'd read about in a diving magazine, but the predator was relentless. Matteo dove into the water, spear in hand. He swam with a speed and determination born of years on the sea, aiming for the shark's vulnerable gills. With a well-placed jab, he managed to startle the beast, which released Eddy and retreated momentarily. Matteo grabbed Eddy and, with Jill's help, hauled him back to the boat. The scene on the deck was grim. Eddy's leg was mangled, the flesh torn and bleeding profusely. Jill sobbed uncontrollably as Matteo applied makeshift tourniquets, using his belt and a piece of rope. "We need to get back now," Matteo barked, starting the engine. The boat sped toward the shore, bouncing over the waves as Eddy drifted in and out of consciousness. Jill clung to him, whispering reassurances he could barely hear. When they reached the dock, an ambulance was waiting, alerted by Matteo via radio. Paramedics worked quickly, stabilizing Eddy and rushing him to the nearest hospital. Jill followed, her hands trembling as she clutched his bloodied shirt. The days that followed were a blur of surgeries, medications, and painful recoveries. Eddy had survived, but at a cost. His leg was so severely damaged that doctors had no choice but to amputate below the knee. The realization hit him hard. The man who had once swum effortlessly through the ocean now faced a life of limitations and adjustments. Jill remained by his side, her love unwavering. But the trauma of the attack lingered, haunting her dreams and casting a shadow over their relationship. Eddy struggled with anger and depression, mourning not just his physical loss, but also the carefree life they'd shared before. Word of the attack spread quickly, capturing the attention of news outlets and social media. Eddy's story became a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of the ocean's unpredictability. Experts weighed in, explaining that shark attacks, while rare, often occurred when humans ventured into areas where predators hunted. They emphasized the importance of heeding local warnings and respecting the sea's inhabitants. Eddy, initially reluctant, eventually agreed to share his experience. He appeared in interviews, his voice steady but tinged with regret. "I ignored the warnings," he admitted, "and I paid the price. But I'm lucky to be alive. Not everyone gets a second chance." His words resonated with many, sparking conversations about ocean safety and the need for greater awareness. Schools and organizations invited Eddy to speak, turning his ordeal into a powerful lesson for others. Over time, Eddy began to rebuild his life. He learned to walk with a prosthetic leg, a process that tested his patience and resilience. Jill too found strength in their shared struggle, supporting him every step of the way. Together, they worked through their fears, finding solace in therapy and the unwavering bond they had forged in the face of adversity. Eddy even returned to the water, albeit cautiously. With Mateo's guidance, he learned to scuba dive, finding a new way to connect with the sea that had both scarred and fascinated him. The first time he descended into the depths, he felt a mix of fear and exhilaration. But as he floated among the coral and fish, he realized that the ocean's beauty far outweighed its dangers. Years later, Eddy and Jill established a foundation dedicated to promoting ocean safety and shark conservation. They worked tirelessly to dispel myths about sharks, emphasizing their importance to marine ecosystems. "We can't blame the shark for what happened," Eddy often said. "It was just doing what it's meant to do. It's up to us to be mindful and respectful when we enter their world." Their efforts earned recognition, transforming their tragedy into a story of hope and resilience. Eddy's scars, both physical and emotional, became symbols of survival and the unbreakable human spirit. And while the attack had changed their lives forever, it also deepened their appreciation for each other and the fragile beauty of the world beneath the waves. Eddy and Jill's story serves as a poignant reminder of the ocean's dual nature, a place of wonder and danger, peace and unpredictability. It's a tale of courage, love, and the enduring power of the human heart to heal and find purpose, even in the face of unimaginable challenges. We hope you found value in today's video of these two tragic stories. Remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more. Thanks for watching.